Hello friends, welcome back for next lecture of heterocyclic chemistry. We will continue with the heterocyclic chemistry with a Hertz-Widman nomenclature system. In previous lecture, we have seen two important rules of Hertz-Widman nomenclature system. The first, that we have to use a heteroatom prefixes, and depending upon the size of the ring, we have to use different suffixes for the nomenclature. Okay, so with continuing the same, we will go for the next rule of the nomenclature system. So let's go for the third rule of the nomenclature system. So third rule suggests that when more than one same heteroatom are present in the ring, then the prefixes di, tri, tetra, etc. are used. So when a ring containing more than one heteroatom of the same type, that means same heteroatom, either two oxygen, two nitrogen, two sulfurs, then we are having a nomenclature prefixes di, tri, etc. for that system. Okay, so let's consider the example. Now here we can see a three-member cyclic structure having a two nitrogen atoms. So first question, how many nitrogen? What is the heteroatom? Heteroatom is a nitrogen and there are two, therefore diazo. What is the size of the ring? Size of the ring is a three-member, therefore 3, and a suffix we are using is ir. Okay, so what should be the name? Name should be diazo. As there are 3, therefore ir. It is a saturated, therefore IDINE. So name of the compound will be diaziridine. Okay, so that is the name of the compound, that is a diaziridine. Okay, now let's consider the another example with a two oxygen atom. Same, we are considering a three-member cyclic structure having a two oxygen atoms. Okay, so what is the first question? First question we are going to ask, that is what is the heteroatom? So what is the heteroatom? There are two heteroatoms which is same, that is oxygen, and therefore dioxo. Okay, and what is the size of the ring? Size of the ring is 3 member, therefore IR. So here we are having the name dioxo, IR for the 3 member, and ANE for a saturated cyclic structure. So name of the compound is dioxirane. Okay, that is the name for the compound which is having a two oxygen atom. Now let's consider next two sulfur atoms in the 3 member cyclic structure. So again same question, what is the heteroatom? Sulfur. How many? 2, therefore dithi or dithia. Then what is the size of the ring? It is a 3 member cyclic structure, therefore 3 and IR. So the compound name will be dithi, IR and ANE, right? 3 member, IR, saturated, ANE. So name of the compound is dithyrane. Okay, dithyrane, that is the name of the compound. So these three examples suggest that if there is a same one type of the heteroatom, then we have to use the prefixes di, tri, tetra, etc. depending upon the number of the heteroatoms present. Okay, now let's move further. Here we are considering the fourth rule. More than one different heteroatoms are present. More than the one different heteroatoms are present in the ring, then the compound is named by combining the prefixes. By combining the prefixes of each heteroatom in the order of their preferences. Okay, which is given in the table number 1 that we have already seen. Here we are having a common compounds containing heteroatom, that is oxygen, sulfur and nitrogen. Oxygen before the sulfur and sulfur before the nitrogen. So oxygen is having the first priority for this. Okay, so what it suggests? It suggests that if a heterocyclic compound is there and that heterocycle containing the heteroatoms, more than one heteroatom, and they are of a different type. If they are different type, then their prefixes are combined together and they are combined in a order of their preferences. Okay, so let's take a particular example for this. Now here we are taking the example. Now you can see here structure. It is having a two heteroatom. One is oxygen and one is a nitrogen. Okay, so two heteroatoms which are of a different type. Okay, so what are the heteroatom? Oxygen and nitrogen. So we have to combine their prefixes oxa and aza. Okay, so oxa and aza combined together, so oxase. Okay, so that will be the name. Now what is the size of the ring? Size of the ring is a 4 member, which is stand for ET prefixes, and then it is a saturated as it contains the nitrogen, so it is having a ed. Okay, so what will be the name of this compound? Yes, yes, correct. Name of the compound is oxaetidine, right? Oxaetidine. OX stands for oxygen, AZ stands for nitrogen, ET stands for 4 member, and IDINE stands for the saturated 4 member cyclic structure having a nitrogen. Okay, now let's take the another example. Now here we are having a cyclic structure which contain oxygen and sulfur. So which is having the first priority or which is having a first preference? Oxygen is having a first preference. So let's consider first, that is oxygen and sulfur. So oxathi, right? That will be the compound, or that will be the prefix we are going to use. Now it is a 6 member, so saturated ANE. We are having saturated ANE. So name of the compound will be oxathine, right? Oxathine. Oxathine is a 6 member cyclic structure having oxygen and sulfur. It is a saturated, therefore ANE. Okay, in this way we can have the nomenclature for the cyclic compound which are having the two different heteroatoms in a cycle. Okay, that is the fourth rule. Now next, that is the fifth. Numbering of an heterocyclic ring is started by giving one number or first number to the heteroatom. Okay, so up till now we don't have seen the numbering. What we have seen, what should be the name, but if there are some substituent, if we have to mention the position of the heteroatom, then there should be the numbering used for this. And according to this rule, a numbering of an heterocyclic ring is started by giving a number 1 to the heteroatom. That means numbering should start from the heteroatom. Okay, so if more than one heteroatom is present, or if more than one heteroatom is in the ring, then according to the priority, number 1 is assigned to the highest priority. Okay, as we are knowing that if two different heteroatoms are there, then according to priority we have to give the number. Okay, numbering is in a such a way that the lowest possible number is given to the heteroatom. Okay, so this fifth rule is quite interesting and it suggests how should be the numbering. Numbering in case of an heterocyclic compound should start from the heteroatom in the cyclic compound. If there are more than one heteroatom, then according to their preferences we have to give the numbering, that is the highest priority atom will have the highest number. Okay, and second, when we are considering numbering should be in a such a way that the smallest possible number should be assigned to the other heteroatom. Okay, so let's consider here an example. Now in this case you can see it is a 5-member cyclic structure and it contains oxygen and sulfur. Okay, now there are two heteroatoms and we have to give the number. So number will start either from this heteroatom or this heteroatom, which depend upon the priority. In between oxygen and sulfur, which is having the highest priority? Oxygen is having the highest priority. Therefore, we must assign the number 1 to the oxygen. So here we are considering a number 1 to the oxygen. Why oxygen is having one number? Because yes, oxygen is having a highest priority, or oxygen is having higher priority than the sulfur. Okay, now we can have a possible numbering. We can go by this side or we can go by this side. Okay, if I go by this side, 1 2 3 and 4, and if I go from this side, 1 2 and 3. So lowest possible number we have to assign. So numbering should be like this: 2 3 for sulfur, 4 to the carbon and 5 to the carbon. Okay, so what should be the name of this compound now? There are two heteroatom, oxygen and sulfur. So oxythia, right? 5 members. So in that way we are having the numbering. So oxythia 5, therefore OL, 5 member cyclic structure, therefore OL, and it is saturated, therefore ANE. So what should be the name? 1,3 oxathiolane, right? Oxathiolane, that is the name of the compound. What this 1 and 3 indicate? 1 and 3 indicate the positions of the heteroatom, 1 for oxygen and 3 for the sulfur. Okay, so therefore 1,3 oxathiolane, OL for the 5 member and ANE for the saturation. Okay, in this way we are having the numbering for a heterocyclic compound. Okay, now next rule: if in a heterocyclic compound it is a partially reduced heterocyclic compound, partially reduced heterocyclic compound, in that case we have to assign two adds, or we have to assign a words dihydro or tetrahydro derivative depending upon the unsaturation, depending upon a saturation of a parent unsaturated compound by mentioning the position of unsaturation. Okay, so when there is a partially unsaturated heterocyclic compound, in that case we have to use the words dihydro or tetrahydro with their names and mentioning the position of unsaturation. Okay, so that is the sixth rule. Now let's take the example. Before that, saturation is indicated by attaching a hydrogen with the number denoting the position to the name of the parent unsaturated compound. So what it suggests? It suggests that we should mention the unsaturation by indicating or attaching the hydrogen with the number which denote the position of unsaturation with a parent unsaturated compound. So what it suggests? It suggests that a saturation is indicated by hydrogen with the number which suggests the position of an saturation, and a remaining name will be the parent's unsaturated name. Okay, so let's take the example here. Now here we are having a 5-member cyclic structure, right? And here nitrogen is there, and if we have here a double bond, we are knowing what is the parent compound, but here we are having the saturation. So we have to find out what is going to be name of this compound, or how we have to name the compound. Okay, now first number to the nitrogen, second to the carbon which is saturated, third to the carbon which is saturated, fourth to the unsaturated carbon, and 5 to the unsaturated carbon. Now you have to remember that here we are giving the highest numbering to the saturated carbon, not to the unsaturated. Why? Because we want a lowest possible number in a IUPAC name. Okay, so lowest possible number will appear when we are having the lowest possible number to the saturated carbon. Okay, now what should be the name of this? For this compound, what should be the name? Now at which position there is a saturation? At second and third position there is a saturation. So we are having the name 2,3 dihydro. Okay, one hydrogen is added, so dihydroazole, that is the name of the compound. Okay, that is the name with the IUPAC. What is the other possible name? 2,3H azole. Now you can see here with these two, either we can use a dihydro for this, or we can put a hydrogen. So it indicates that at second and third position there is a saturation, as it is a having a hydrogen, or we can use the word dihydro. Okay, now this is for the IUPAC name. We are knowing the common name of this compound, that is more pre-known, that is a pyrrole. Okay, so for this compound what will be the name? 2,3 dihydropyrrole, right? That is a common name, or we can have a 2,3H pyrrole. So this compound we can name by these many different ways, because it is a well-known compound. We are knowing it as a pyrrole. It is a travel name, while azole is a IUPAC name. Okay, so that we have to consider while giving the numbering and naming the compound which is having a saturation. Once again, we will repeat this slightly to remember you. The partial reduced heterocyclic compounds, they are either assigned with the dihydro or tetrahydro word with the parent unsaturated compound with mentioning the position. Okay, here you can see 2, 3 mentioning the position, and dihydro which suggests that at second and third position there is a one hydrogen added, therefore dihydro, and it is a saturated. Or we can have the second possible way by which we can give the number, that is a 2, 3, and here we are indicating the H indicate that it is a saturated, and second and third carbon is a saturated carbon. Azole is the IUPAC name of the compound. If compound is having a common name, then that common names can also be used for this if it is very well known. Here 2,3 dihydropyrrole or 2,3H pyrrole we are having the name. Okay, now next we are considering here few examples with the same. Now here if you look at the previous compound and this compound, what is the change? We just have shifted the position of the double bond in this case. So how will be numbering appearing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if you go in a reverse way, it is one and the same. So what is the name of this compound? 2, 5 at second carbon and fifth carbon. At second and fifth carbon we are having a saturation. So 2,5H pyrrole is the name of the compound. Okay, a common name we are considering. Now here what we have done, we have taken the same compound and just shifted the position of this. Now what will be the position here? What we are having? We are having a numbering in this manner: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what is the name? 2H pyrrole. Why 2H pyrrole? Because here we are having saturation at the second carbon atom. Okay, now next with the 5 member which contain the oxygen, that is again one of the common. So what is the name for this? It is a 2,5H, 2,5H. Okay, that is a furan. What is the other possible name of this compound? Other possible name of this compound will be, yes, 2,5-dihydrofuran, right? That will be the possible name for this compound. Now let's consider the another manner for same compound, that is a furan. How will be numbering? 1, 2, here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in this manner, because lowest possible number to the saturated carbon here we are considering. So name of the compound will be 2,3H, 2,3H furan, that is a common name. Okay, so here we are considering this. Now let's consider the next rule. The numbering start at a nitrogen atom that carries a substituent rather than the multiple bonded nitrogen atom. Okay, for this we have to consider a particular example. Here is the example we are going to see. Now here you can see. Now there are two nitrogen atoms. One is having a double bond and other is having a substituent. So according to this rule, numbering starts at a nitrogen atom that carries the substituent. So numbering we should start from this. Why? Because it is having a substituent. Here there is only a multiple, that is a double bond with this nitrogen. So numbering will appear like this. First to this nitrogen, second to this carbon which is having a methyl, third to this, fourth to this, and 5 to this. So what should be the name? Yes, correct. Name will be like this: 1,2 dimethyl at first, second there are two methyl group, therefore 1,2 dimethyl 1H, right? 1H imidazole, that will be the name. The parent is a imidazole. At first position hydrogen is removed with the methyl, so 1H imidazole, that is the name. 1,2 dimethyl 1H imidazole. Here we are considering the another example. Now here you can see first number to the nitrogen. Why? Because it is having a substituent. Second to this, third to this, fourth to this, and fifth to this. Okay, so that we are considering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now there are two methyl groups at first and fifth position. Third carbon is having a ethyl group, right? So here we are having the name of the compound which indicate the position of substituent also. 3-ethyl 1,5-dimethyl pyrazole. Okay, that is the name of the compound. Here we are having the name of the compound. Okay, so this is the seventh rule in giving the IUPAC numbering of the heterocyclic compound. Now next, if the carbon atom of the ring is involved in the carbonyl group, then the locant of specifying the carbonyl carbon is followed by an italic capital H in the parenthesis, which indicate the position of extra hydrogen in the ring. Okay, so what it suggests? It suggests that when in a heterocyclic structure a carbon having a carbonyl group, then that carbonyl group location should be specified. Also, as there is an addition of an extra hydrogen in the parent structure, that hydrogen is indicated by italic capital H, okay, and which indicate the hydrogen in the ring. Okay, for this let's go with the example so you can have a better understanding. Now this compound you can see here. Okay, so here if I remove this carbonyl and if I put the double bond here, it is a well-known compound. You are knowing the name of that compound, right? Now here we are having a carbonyl. So how will be the numbering? Numbering will be first to the nitrogen, second to the carbonyl carbon, third, fourth, 5, 6. So how you can give the name? Here is the name: 2, 1H in a bracket. Now you can see the difference in previous H and this H. It is a italic H. Okay, 1H pyridone. Okay, why it is a pyridone? Because there is a presence of an carbonyl at the second position. So here we are mentioning the position 2. 1H indicate the addition of an extra hydrogen at the first, that is a nitrogen, and pyridone ONE because it is a carbonyl. So that will be the name of the compound: 2 in a bracket H pyridone. Okay, now let's take the another example. Now here what we have done, we have just shifted the position of these two double bonds. Okay, now here you can see the double bonds are shifted. So in this case, what is numbering? Numbering will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What is the difference between these two? The difference between these two is that a heteroatom having the extra hydrogen here. Now this third carbon is having a extra hydrogen here. Okay, so in that way we have to mention the number position of the carbonyl as well as we have to mention the position of extra added hydrogen. So what will be the name? Name will be this 2, right, to indicate the position of an carbonyl, in a bracket 3H italic H which indicate the position of an extra hydrogen, and pyridone is the parent structure. Okay, ONE, why ONE? Because there is a presence of an carbonyl. Okay, this carbonyl position is the second, therefore, so that is the name of the compound. Okay, now let's move for the next rule for nomenclature. Sometimes the position of the substituents around the ring is shown as a Greek letters alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, now here we can consider the example. Here we are having a 6-member cyclic structure with the heteroatom as a nitrogen. Now here alpha, beta and gamma. Okay, so that we are considering alpha, beta and gamma. So these are the nomenclature rules for the monocyclic system with the help of an Hans-Widman nomenclature. Okay, so in a monocyclic system there are different rules for the numbering of the heterocycle. So with this we are going to stop our lecture, and in the next lecture we are going to see a fused heterocyclic system and a spiroheterocyclic system. So remember all these rules and make a notes for all these rules so you can have the better understanding, and try over the paper so you can get a good knowledge of IUPAC nomenclature system for the heterocycle. So lastly I would like to say thank you very much for watching this video. Lastly, I would like to say that you make a notes and try a different compound IUPAC nomenclature on the paper. Thank you. Thank you very much. So here we will stop and continue in the next lecture with a fused heterocyclic system.